Everyone.
Hi,
Welcome to Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with,
Oberon.
and me, Banshee. And this is a special video presentation of Tarot for Today. It's kind of a coronavirus part 2 reading that we're doing. And right now, I'd like to give a disclaimer and tell you, and Mr. O, of course he knows, that this is for entertainment purposes only. We are not medical people. We are not government officials. We don't have the inside scoop. We're just saying what the tarot cards are telling us could be happening with the coronavirus in the future. It's just a prediction and it is for fun and entertainment so that we can look at it later and say, wow, we had that right, or man, were we way off base. So we leave it at that.
Right, we are in no way licensed or qualified to perform medicine practice or give advice, even.
But
We
somebody is, right?
who?
The CDC, the
Yes,
Center for
yes.
Disease Control, is where you can go and get accurate information about the coronavirus. Also, if you're in another country watching our video, then, go to your National Health Service for information.
Now, previously, which would have been somewhere around March 16th or so, we had recorded and released another video, which were the questions we had come up with at that time. Number one, I want to say you should go to elsewhere on our YouTube channel and look for that.
Yes.
Like I said, it was from around March 16th. And in fact, we find that we had a lot of accuracy going for those questions.
Well, as with the tarot, there's a lot of vagaries. But one thing that I remember specifically was we were talking about how there would be some improvement 2 months from now. And that was in March. So that would be May. And, there are a number of states in the US, for example, that were having some serious issues back then, and things have turned around. I mean, the numbers are starting to go the other way now. And I think we can say that for some of the countries of the world as well. I think there are still a lot of hot spots, but some of them have seen some of their numbers decreasing.
Right. In our particular state, as you mentioned, it has gotten better. I think that maybe 2 to 3, 4 weeks ago, we
Yes.
were really hot and we were like literally possibly the second or third worst infected rates. And now it looks like we've dropped down to below five, possibly, at least as of some information I saw earlier today. So that's really good. And we hope that, of course, other states will continue to have a declining,
Yes.
flattening of that curve too. But now it's time for us.
Well, one more thing.
Sure.
Also, I think that we were discussing something's looking up a little bit at the end of the year as well, or by early next year. And I think we speculated that there would be a vaccine. And,
Yes.
everybody who's talking about says that's way too early, that's way too early. But they are rushing things. And I have heard some projections now that at the earliest, it could be the end or the beginning of January next year, depending on who you talk to. So we're keeping an open mind on that one, and I just thought there was some interesting things in that reading. But it is just a tarot reading. So we've
Right.
got another great one planned and some questions. And this one is for the global community again, not just for the United States. We do plan on following up with one for the United States at a later date, getting into some more minutiae of the handling of the virus.
So, because there are a number of questions or parts to questions here, we're actually using a number of decks because we don't want to preclude certain cards that are important cards turning up again as necessary in those subsequent questions and readings. So, for example, I'm starting off with Paul Hewson's Dame Fortune Tarot.
Sunny Arcad has joined us.
Yes, and as I seem to recall, he was a little bit of a
He
bother
was.
during the taping of the first one.
So we are going to do things a little differently this time and
We tried
undermine
at
Mr.
least.
Sunman.
We tried at least. There you go. Keep him occupied.
We are using, by the way, a different deck for every question in this reading.
Yes, I just talked about that a little bit.
I wanted, did you, oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
It's
You
because
can
of
expand
Mr.
on that. Basically,
Sunman.
what I said was that we didn't want to preclude some cards showing up again, possibly, if they were important.
Correct. And I think that we are looking for trends there just to see if something, there's a recurring theme.
Go ahead and cut,
I
dear.
am.
All right.
I was just looking for the space, Mr. O.
So, what was our first question? We
Our
kind of had
very
it in mind.
first question, if Mr. Sunny will let me have it, is hold on a minute. Will there, and this is a two-part question, will there be a global consensus on the prevention and treatment of the virus? Part one is, how can we achieve it?
And that was 3, right?
Yes, we're going to throw 3 cards on that one. We have the death card, upright,
The star.
reversed,
Nice looking deck. And then we have, wow, all major arcana.
holy cow.
The Fool upright.
All right. Well, you know what death is all about. Death is, we're not going to say people, give up, it's over. Death is about transformation. And so in this case, how can we achieve, a global consensus? I think a lot of people have to change their stances, their view, they have to come in this with a more open mind and be ready to make substantive changes to come up with a consensus on how
Well,
to prevent and treat this virus.
like the John Lennon song says, it's like starting all over again.
Well, and that's the Fool, too. The Fool just reinforces the death card in a big way here, I think, Mr. O.
Absolutely.
And right now, I think with the star reversed, I think it's showing that at this point in time, it's looking doubtful that that can happen. A lot of people might be sticking with, their own agendas. They don't want to get together and agree on anything and give up something, or
From the collective point of view, there's less than inspiration.
yeah, yeah. They don't feel inspired or motivated to do so. Yeah.
It will take dramatic change and it will take starting over again.
Well, then I don't know. Is the second question a moot point? How long will it take to get a global consensus? One would like to think if things were really bad that, people would finally come together and say we have to do something. But I don't know. Do we need this card now, Mr. O?
Let's go ahead and do it.
Okay. Okay,
We're
so
going to use your
I'm going
deck?
to use the Crow's Tarot for this. And
Yes, the brilliant MJ Cullinane Quote Tarot. We love using that for our daily reading, our daily tarot card of the day, which is on our Facebook page, TFT Tarot for Today Facebook, as well as our Twitter.
so for part two, we're going to look for a time frame here on, how long will it take these guys to get to the, point of working together. And we're going to be looking for the first minor arcana card we draw.
Or the one that just fell?
No.
No. And it was 2 anyway, so there.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Mr. O, the Dropsy card reader.
The drop dead drama
Did you cut them?
of Mr. O.
I have it.
Sonny's whiskers. He's a little bit out of view, but he's right here.
Literally.
Bless our reading.
Well, look at that. Gosh, we have the 3 of Cups, and it's reversed. It's really interesting that we choose that card because it's like there's nothing to celebrate here. I think, if anything, it's going to take months before this can happen. It may take upwards to the fall. It looks like maybe the fall or by the end of the fall.
Right, which is actually close to what we are hearing as some possible projections from science and science groups.
Well, maybe.
Maybe, of course.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think that some of them would like us to,
Be hopeful.
yeah.
Others may realize that they don't feel that hopeful. So it's going to have to, take people really deciding they want to start over and accept this huge change.
So the next question we have is what more needs to be done globally or, collectively to control the spread of the virus? And we're going to draw 3 cards for that. Would you like to?
Go ahead and use that one again.
I'd rather use a different one because I
Then
have
do you want to
3
leave the card up there?
Well, I thought we were going to, which is why I didn't believe you gave it
I'm
back to
sorry,
me.
you took it too readily then if you didn't want to do that.
I
Okay.
misread you, Mr. O.
How could that be?
Watch our medium show and
The
find out why.
The obtuse utterings of Mr. O.
Oh.
Well, and we are delighted to bring this to you. It's not the best of our subjects, and we apologize for any possible flippancy or unnecessary terseness.
As we do this, we're in quarantine as well. And I
And
mean,
have been.
just isolation, I guess, social isolation. And we get no joy out of this. We just want to see what the cards have to say. Here you go.
So-
Again, I will repeat the question.
Go right ahead.
What more needs to be done globally, collectively, to control the spread of the virus?
I kind of like this setup a little bit.
Is that the 2?
It is the 2.
And what do we have here? Oh, my goodness.
So our 3 cards are number 1, the 3 of Swords, the reversed 2 of Cups, and the reversed 7 of Wands.
There is a lot of power in this reading here. This question. I'm going to wonder what you're going to say about how I'm going to handle this, but I'm going for it. Do you want me to go for it?
Please do.
So what do we need to do globally, collectively to control the spread, particularly since we have all these negative cards showing up? Well, I think what they're telling me is that the 3 of Swords is saying, we need to be more empathic. We need to really understand what people are going through. I think that, there's a lot of sorrow, there's a lot of sadness, and there's a lot of remorse right now, and maybe some guilt even, who knows, thrown into the mix. But there's something very cutting and hurtful. And then if you look at the 2 of Cups reversed, people have to, we have to stop blaming each other and bickering with each other. We have to get together. We have to get it together and realize that we're all in this together if we want to fight this globally and collectively. And the final one shows that we are really at a disadvantage right now because we are not doing so.
That's literally what I would say. I mean, I possibly wanted to color it in particular that wouldn't necessarily be appropriate now, but this sort of feels like maybe you're asking this from a collective point of view that
it's global, yeah.
Yeah, that maybe we have to separate ourselves from the parts that cause the worst pain. And maybe that has something to do with the parts that are the most disharmonious, the things that are not taking a harmony view into effect. And maybe that's talking about the people that don't want to be part of consensus, that want to stand alone. We don't need them. We need to work with people who want to work together. Yeah, I
Whichever
did kind of color
take you
that,
take, a mine or his, it's very interesting.
Well,
And
I
think they
get
gel.
what you're saying too.
Oh, I get
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you're saying too. Sure, absolutely. Awesome. Well, I don't want to say awesome because that doesn't
That's-
bode well, but it's
No,
like I just
no.
can't believe the cards and the power that they contain.
I mean, of course, it's our disclaimer, and
Right.
this is entertainment, but
Right.
of course, we do
We can see
truly
corollaries.
believe we do truly believe that tarot's a snapshot in time, and what this tells us is that in this next round that we're looking at, that there are problems with people in the world seeing eye to eye, having trust or harmony within each other, or seeing each other as being part of a solution, working together, or maybe deciding they'd rather go it alone. And so, as a world community, we have to get beyond that.
Oh, we can use one of your decks for the next one?
Yes, I'm going to go to my Nefertari. What's the question?
Well, that's good because the next question is what will be the long-term implications internationally of this virus on migration and travel? All right. He can't decide where to interfere. Where's he going to lay to interfere with me now? Okay, Mr. Owen, for this question, again, it is what will be the long-term implications internationally of this virus on migration, travel? I mean, immigration, we can just throw all of that into the mix of this reading.
The upright moon,
Okay.
the reversed nine of coins.
Oh, okay.
Very interesting.
Well, I could read a couple things into that.
I know, yeah. And then the upright king of coins or pentacles, that being also pentacles coins. So intriguing. Some things that are not going to necessarily be well known or be mysterious or possibly have certain levels of deception about them, i.e., maybe secretive movements to try to help migration, if we're going to go directly with that over just travel in general. Did you want to say something, or can I go on?
Oh, you can go on.
With
I'll
the
add
nine
after.
of coins reversed, this is saying maybe to some degree that we're not going to be able to keep ourselves in our relative comfort zones and possibly isolated. It looks like the opposite of being comfortable and being more or less by yourself. It looks like the opposite of that. And then finally with the King of Coins, though, I think once again it may be looking at somebody who has more or less stronger powers within government or society of some level, possibly more connections with money. So it could be maybe a person who is mega rich and is wanting to help enable things, to maybe help things, a billionaire philanthropist, or just somebody who is seeing a business opportunity by trying to figure out a new way of helping people travel or helping accommodate what will probably end up being a refugee migration situation.
Well, this wasn't specifically about the travel industry per se
No.
in and of itself, but I see
That's
it there
true.
in a way. No, I see it there thinking, I'm looking at that King of Pentacles and, here they're used to operating a certain way, but it looks as though they're going to realize now there's no benefit in standing on their own. There's nothing to be gained. They're going to have to work together to try to solve what's happening, and that is the Nine of Pentacles reversed. And also with the moon, it just seems to me that I'm getting the feeling that it's still unclear really what's going to happen. There are a lot of unknowns here. There are so many countries. We're talking globally. This is kind of a hard question to tackle for this reading because we're talking globally and everybody's going to have their own ways of doing things. Like some people might shut people out for a while from coming into their country if they're having really bad situation with the virus. It's possible too that people have to stay and be quarantined. Movement between countries, I think, is going to be restricted.
Once again, with her thoughts in mind about, how differing countries may decide to deal with some of that, especially the quarantine issues. And I just decided to randomly grab a card, and I grabbed the reversed Seven of Swords, which does seem to, once again, play to the idea of mysterious things or possibly unknown, possibly deceptive things, but
Well,
it's
it's reversed.
and so it may be that these things are coming to light, or that maybe we're finding ways to bridge some of that and to come to terms with these losses or these changes. Maybe we're coming to terms with that. Maybe we're rectifying some of that. I don't know if you want to take that, because of course it doesn't go exactly with what we had decided.
Well, I don't
felt
know.
strongly about pulling the card, though.
I don't know. I really do think that in my mind with the moon, there's a lot yet to be revealed about where things are going to go. I have two topsy-turvy cards there, in that with the king, here's somebody who manages things well, and then we have the Nine of Pentacles, who really can't stand alone very well, needs something else. So conditions of being alone and standing alone are not working. So, instead of trying to close off, I think what it's trying to say is that we have to find our way to work more cohesively together. And it is not the time to close off borders and things. That is not really the problem per se. It's how we manage it that's the problem.
Right, and I think that overall,
I think I'm sticking with that, but go ahead.
I agree with you. I just think
I
that
know.
the moon, and possibly if we're considering the Seven of Swords, just tells us that from a certain point of view, and it tends to be more, secret governmental things. And I'm not talking conspiracy much as just operations that have protocols that aren't necessarily well known may happen. That may be.
Well, there's always talk, that we never know between leaders. There are private conversations.
Right, and that's what I'm referring to,
Yeah.
that maybe, different countries or different governments may try to alleviate these strains by crafting some agreements with them. Or it's possible that maybe it may fall into the hands of other citizenry. We know from, decades ago that people tried to help out other people who felt they were being persecuted. We have sanctuary cities right now in the U.S., but I was specifically thinking about during the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
At any rate, I just wanted to mention it.
Yeah, no, that was
Okay.
fine. I'm just pulling ahead here to look at the next question.
Go ahead.
Well, only because I knew I didn't have anything to add. So
Sure.
that is it, Mr. O.
All right.
So what will be... Oh, no, I guess this is how will or should we respond as an international community to those most vulnerable of having major complications from the virus. So for that, I'll grab one of my decks. I guess I'll grab this animal one. This is the totem, animal totem. Tarot. Shuffle. And I'll repeat. Okay. How will or should we respond as an international community to those most vulnerable of having major complications from the virus? Wow. Wow. So, wow.
In your dreams, right?
No. So, where we have, what is that one again?
The Eight of Cups
Reversed. Put it down. I'm going to go first, or do you want to go first? I
No, you
want to
can
go first.
The Ace of Wands, upright. And then the Ten of Cups upright. Pretty card.
Wow. So, I guess I'm going to start with that last card, the Ten of Cups, because the Ten of Cups is like a real card of happiness and emotional well-being and support. And I feel that it also bespeaks of families. There's just this little connection there with, you see on that card in particular, there's the two penguins and the child.
It makes me think of the end of a Disney movie where,
Everybody lives
they're
happily ever
kissing and
after.
happy and
The
they
rainbow is
right, the
there.
rainbow. Exactly. It feels just like a beautiful ending to a
And
fairy
so it's
story.
telling me that, I think that nations really are concerned for these people. They want to help. I really feel that it's there, that's really good to see that card in this particular question. The Ace of Wands, though, indicates to me that we got to get started. We have to have a fresh start on this and maybe a more comprehensive plan of action, because the wands are all about action. And the Eight of Cups reverse to me is talking about, yeah, we need to move beyond what we've been doing so far into something that's going to be a little bit, that's going to really be better, that will definitely protect those that we love. It's
Well,
not so much about money as it is about moving away from the spiritual to the physical aspects. We are hurting mentally, we are hurting spiritually because we can't connect necessarily with our churches and stuff, but the focus right now needs to be on the physicality of this, how the health and well-being, and also the material, because it's a salmon swimming, and there's kind of, to me, an abundance message there as well, even though it's a heart, or a cup. And the other thing I wanted to say about that is I kind of went a different direction. What they need to do here is they're coming back home. I think that, the salmon come back to their waters, right, to spawn. And so I think that people are coming back home and thinking about those that are stuck
But
and
that's
need
that
the help and
way.
assistance.
Well, see, I'm a little bit different
I'm
from you
going with that.
because I'm just thinking that from the other point of view, that person who's moving along represents a person who's looking for something that's not from the physical. And so we see these religious tones from around the world saying trust and it will get better, when in actuality it's really, we need to apply
Well,
material
obviously.
infrastructure to it. That's what I'm getting from that card. That's what I think it means, is that that's what the world needs to do or should be doing, is not necessarily de-emphasizing our belief in a higher power, but saying that's nice, but really up until now, telling people to believe isn't really been very effective. And we really didn't need to do practical things, material things, world things.
It all comes together, really.
It does at
There
some
has
point.
to be the balance, and it seems like there's a return to that to some degree.
Well, I didn't get to say anything about these other cards
Yeah,
yet.
go right ahead.
The Ace of Wands, if we're talking about what the world needs to do is, you know,
To protect those vulnerable ones.
right, and they have that little tiny bug inside that bottle there, and so they're protecting that in a way. And fireflies are in danger,
I hope we're not going to be
possibly.
in a bottle forever,
So,
but they do need to find a way to protect us until a
but maybe
vaccine.
this is a metaphor for capturing lightning in a bottle, which means having ingenuity, having a brainstorm idea. Maybe the world needs to have that. If we have to protect other people, we need to figure out make that our priority, to come up with that lightning ingenuity, that thing that just says, I have to do this. And so we just need that kind of ingenuity to kick in, idea making, or whatever it is. And lastly, I think I already talked about it, but that's like, the world needs to come together and say, we want to all have that happy ending. We are all one family of love here, of the world. We need to come together. Not just this country or that country, or
What the
those
world
countries or
needs
those
now?
countries. What the world needs
No,
now.
no, don't
I'm
sing.
slaughtering Burt Bacharach. Ah!
All right then.
All
So
right.
the final question in this reading is overall, what will the next 12 months look like? And so we're talking about from now, May to May of 2021. And we're going to draw 3 cards, and I guess that's going to be mine again, right? Back and forth, back and forth.
But you just used the last one.
Oh, wait, you're right.
Nice try, Banshee. But you have to get up pretty early to pull one over on Mr.
On
O.
Mr. O.
And I am going to use my infamous, not the Crow, but the Crow's Magic Tarot deck,
Okay.
which is a little bit more on the esoteric
Obtuse.
side. Obtuse side, as befits this last question. Repeat the question again, please.
It's an obtuse question. It's what will
Indeed.
the next 12 months look like? That's pretty clear. All right. No more joking around. Okay. No.
Oh, please don't do that.
I know I messed up.
You
Sorry.
should have just shifted yourself a little.
There. Sorry for any jarring.
Well, perhaps it's time to take that cough drop that I thought I might need. Wet the old whistle. And our next reading will probably be within a week or so, and that will be the real part 2, I think, that we're hoping for. So, okay, we have our 3 cards. Ooh, a reversed King of Swords.
Oh, did we have
An
that
upward-
already? No.
Yeah, we did. We did have him in here. He's in the Nefertari part of the reading, the golden one.
Oh, okay.
Yep. No, that was the Pentacles. I'm sorry.
I thought so. I don't.
Sorry. King
Sorry.
of Wands upright. Queen of Swords reversed. How interesting. Because we have 3 court cards. We have the King of Swords reversed. We have the King of Wands upright. And we have the Queen of Swords reversed.
Wow. King and Queen of Swords reversed. What does that tell us? There are people that are not making very good decisions. Maybe they're not making decisions. They're putting off things that need to be done.
It sounds
and-
like a fighting couple or something.
Yeah,
I
it
don't know.
does. It looks like there could be some kind of fight going on between people who believe they're right. You know, nobody wants to give.
Right. The swords tend to represent people who have positions of judgment. They make decisions. Those decisions may be the right decisions, or sometimes they may be shaded in directions that, you know, are more self-serving or serving not necessarily justice.
Now, let's talk about that King of Wands in the middle there. What could that be? I'm wondering if it means that possibly leaders in it's not finance, is it? Would it be industry? Maybe leaders in industry might have to come up with some solutions.
Well, this is about business or enterprise.
Yeah, maybe the business community is actually going to come up with solutions.
Right. It's going to end up being the private industry, I guess, maybe. And, you know, different countries are experimenting with privatizing parts of their country's operations. It's happening a little bit here in the States. It might be happening elsewhere in other areas. So it's kind of interesting because, in a way, the swords do represent possibly things that might pertain more to government regulatory type
That is true.
institutions.
That's true.
Whereas wands do tend to pertain more towards enterprise and maybe altruism even, or certainly things that pertain more to the business world.
This could mean that the whole thing is going to be handled in a business-like fashion as well. And I wonder, too, if this is not telling me, and I really don't want to get political here at all, but what I do want to say is when I see those swords reversed and he brings up government and regulations and whatnot, I'm thinking that things, the next 12 months we're going to see things that are focused on, the business community as opposed to people. That's kind of what I feel. And when I look at the swords reversed, I'm looking at that as indicating that's a bad decision. What do you
I
think?
also think that besides being a bad decision, that the quality of separation with the king and queen, the idea that a decision may be okay for somebody but may undercut somebody else. So in essence, it's a bad decision, but it may not be a total bad decision for somebody. And that's what you got to watch out for, because I think that we don't want to get into a situation where it's like, well, pick your parable. Solomon and the two mothers of the child, and he was going to divide the child in half because each mother wanted to put a claim on that child. He didn't really want to do that, but that was what the parable was about. And there are some other parables too where it seems to be that we could throw the baby out with the bath water kind of thing, that these qualities of separating things have to be regulated. They shouldn't be willy-nilly. So government is not necessarily the answer, I guess, is what this is saying, that it may be a merger
Yeah.
between
And it
private
might be
enterprise.
too because enterprise would also, would you say, Mr. O, that we could lump in the healthcare industry in there? And so that maybe the real
Maybe.
solutions are going to have to come out of healthcare that we will see. But, it looks as though it's going to be a hard battle getting there.
Now, I noticed one thing with our format here is that it's going to be hard for us to recap that because we'll have to pull back the cards and do that.
Well,
Do you
I
want
think we're
an
going to
attempt?
skip a recap
Okay.
and just say that's our reading. Feel free to go back and recap and look at the different aspects of this and tell us what you think.
Absolutely. We would love to have
Maybe
feedback
you
on
have a
this.
different take on the cards that you could share. If you're a tarot reader, we'd love to hear from you.
And if you really think that maybe somebody else should hear this reading, then by all means, please share that or draw their attention to it in some way.
But like, share, and remember, it's a tarot
Comment,
reading for
subscribe to our YouTube
entertainment
channel.
purposes only.
Absolutely. And it's been, it's just one of those things that is about us too, is that we've been reading for a long time and that we've always to some degree had a sensitivity about things that were going on that were larger than
Globally,
just
socially,
right.
however, right.
So we wanted to share this with you, that these are the things, that maybe us tarot readers think about
A lot
too.
of tarot readers, I'm sure, do some of this on their own. They're concerned about
I
things
know
that
that,
happen,
absolutely.
but they don't share it, this way. And we just thought we would give it a shot. We did it with Brexit, we did it with some other issues, and this should be no different. So we hope you enjoyed this presentation and hope to see you on our live streams twice weekly. I believe the information will show at the end of this video.
Alrighty.
So take care.